So whether it's a tax strategist who's doing everything bespoke and very one-to-one and knows that she's ready to really expand into more of an agency model and offer some different packages that give her more space to spend time with her family and to really only work with those highest level clients.
This is Sarah Noah Block, and you are listening to Tiny Marketing. Do you know what makes the biggest difference in the world when it comes to profitability and being able to sell? It comes down to your offer. Whether you are selling newspapers or social media marketing, the way you position your offer makes all the difference. So here's an example for you. If you've been following me for the last 4 years, you've seen me offer several different things. But you know what? I have always offered the exact same thing. I just put new wrapping around it. From day one, people have wanted one thing from me, and that is owned media. They want to own their stage. They want to build authority. So I have been doing that for them through content marketing since day one. But you have seen me do different iterations like virtual marketing director, strategic story, the strategic system. You have seen me do the done in a day marketing. You've seen me do a lot of different things, but in the end, I've done the same exact thing, but I have packaged it in different ways because y'all want the same thing from me. So today, I am talking to Annmarie Rose, who is an online business strategist and an absolute freaking genius when it comes to offers. In fact, she is running a new workshop called Ace Your Scalable Offer, and that you can use the code ACEGUEST to get half off of that. So for everyone else, it's $47. But for you, my friends, it is $24. And if you want to understand how to create the most beautiful offer, an offer that will scale with you, that you can do one-to-many, and I am not lying, during this conversation, I was rethinking everything. And she really helped me start to formulate. This conversation helped me formulate what is now the Tiny Marketing Club. Because I was like, she's right. How do I do this in a group offer or a scalable offer or a one-to-many offer? There are so many fun things that she came up with in the span of the 45-minute conversation we had. So you don't want to miss that. It's the Ace Your Scalable Offer workshop, and you can use the code ACEGUEST to get 50% off. It's also going to be in the show notes. But before I rattle on and on and on and on about how amazing Annmarie is about all things offers, I want to actually show you, allow you to listen to the conversation. How about that? How novel. So stay tuned. I'm going to share my chat with Annmarie in a minute. Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs and B2B marketers. Before we dive back into the conversation, let me introduce you to a game changer in the lead generation arena, Leadfeeder. Now, we all know the struggle of identifying those elusive website visitors and turning them into valuable leads. But what if I told you there's a tool that not only promises, but delivers on supercharging your lead generation and sales efforts? Enter Leadfeeder. Imagine having the power to identify companies visiting your website, track their behavior in real time, and seamlessly integrate it all with your CRM. Leadfeeder is not just a tool, it's your secret weapon for efficient and targeted lead engagement. What sets Leadfeeder apart? It's the ability to provide detailed insights into visitor behavior, helping your sales team prioritize efforts and close deals faster. With customizable notifications, lead scoring, and GDPR compliance, Leadfeeder is changing the game. Ready to revolutionize your approach to leads and deals? Head over to leadfeeder.com for your free demo today. That's LEADFEEDER.com. Don't miss out on the future of successful lead generation with Leadfeeder.
So I'm Annmarie Rose. I'm an online business strategist. I also tend to refer to myself as an offer alignment expert. And what that means is I prioritize the vision of your business, the core of what you're actually desiring to create in your business as you grow and scale. And part of that process usually involves modifying your offer suite so that it really supports how you're hardwired for success as the CEO, as well as the revenue goals that you intend to create and the people that you want to serve. It's really this beautiful marrying of multiple different aspects and important things to consider when you are creating, or as most of my clients come to me when they're in that, well, maybe hovering around that 100K mark, maybe a little above or a little below, but they're really ready to scale. And they know that the way they're doing business currently is not necessarily how they want to be doing business long term. And that requires a look at the business model, the offer suite as a whole, and modifications of that. And I've been doing this now for some variation of this now for 7 years. And I just love it. I think it's such a cool thing to get to work with business owners who are really passionate and have incredible gifts and get to turn that into a business where that impact gets to ripple out to thousands and millions beyond their initial sphere. That's what I love about online business as a whole. So that's a bit about me and really the drive behind what I do. So yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
Before we get too deep into offers, what kind of people are you working with? What kind of businesses? And why are they coming to you about their offers? Like why aren't they aligning with their lives?
Mm-mm. Well, many of my clients are, again, hovering around that 100 to maybe 200K mark, maybe a little bit prior to that, but they've had success in their business. They've grown to the point that they are through usually, referrals. Maybe they've had some traction on social media, and they're offering something that they really are passionate about the outcome of that work. However, it's the way that they're getting people there that's feeling like it's taking a toll on them. Like there's a cap to that revenue. So whether it's a tax strategist who's doing everything bespoke and very one-to-one and knows that she's ready to really expand into more of an agency model with and offer some different packages that give her more space to spend time with her family and to really only work with those highest level clients, whether it's a coach who works with executive leaders and helps them to move through spiritual practices that make them better leaders and to cultivate better culture in the workplace, who's really been thriving in one-to-one setting, thriving meaning booked out, thriving from a growth standpoint. However, she knows the impact of her work could extend so much further, and she could work fewer hours through the week to spend more time living her life. That's really where, but she's not exactly sure what it looks like to package things up in a way that would, one, attract that right fit person and also generate the revenue that she needs to generate. So that's really kind of where my person is knowing that the future of business looks different than it does in their existing day to day, but they're not exactly sure sometimes it's, let's get clear on what that actually looks like. And sometimes it's, I'm pretty sure I know what I want it to look like, but I don't exactly know how to make the transition from where I am now to where I want to go. So they know they want to make a transition. They just may need some support with, deep support, clarifying what the across the bridge looks like. And then of course, support mapping out that bridge as a whole and navigating it without all that overwhelm and second guessing that can happen whenever you're making a transition in any area of your life.
It sounds like the beginning, what is triggering it is they need a way to scale their offer. It sounds
100%.
like most of your clients, they're not having trouble getting people in the door. They're having trouble getting burnt out because they're getting so many people in the door and they don't know how to increase their revenue when it's a one-to-one service. First, let's say we're talking to somebody who has a one-to-one service business and it's booked out for the next quarter. What's the first kind of offer that you would suggest to them? Or what are some variations of scalable offers for that type of person?
So here's where my approach is really different from what's out there. 'Cause, there's a million and one coaches and strategists and consultants who can help you create a course or a group program or a membership. Those are, so I just threw out very different examples. Even group VIP days are a thing now. So there's a million and one.
I want to learn more about that.
Yeah. So there's a million and one scalable offers out there. Where I do things differently is we look at what is actually right for you. How are you hardwired for success? Are you someone who prefers to be doing more work behind the scenes than on calls? Are you someone who really does well in group facilitation? Are you someone who does well in group facilitation with little context or a lot of context? So, for example, if you're someone who really likes to know a lot of details about your person and let's say you help someone with a very specific subject matter like Facebook ads, and you really like to have a lot of information about your client before you're going to dive in. It's not you feel like you can't support them in the best way if they're just hopping on calls and kind of asking questions. So in that example, it might be helpful to have a course of sorts, or a really structured membership, and then people submit a form prior to your calls that include more detail, or a detailed intake form, of course, and then a more detailed form to prompt or to get your wheels turning about the question they're going to ask. So that's just a very, very specific example. But I share that just to kind of emphasize the point that it's difficult to give a blanketed approach, blanketed recommendation, because different things are going to work for different types of people. Another example is or just a thing to consider is, are you someone who likes to kind of get in, get something knocked out, get it done and get out? Or are you someone who prefers to work with people over long periods of time? I'm a long-term girly. So I love a good 1 year commitment moment. But I have clients who are like me, I'd rather do 6 weeks of a group sprint where we're getting on calls once a week and knocking out some specific things, or a group VIP day and call it done. So it really comes down to what is right for the business owner and how they're hardwired to show up successfully and in their best energy.
Dang, I am probably going to hire you after this because I've been trying to figure out exactly how to do that too. And I'm like, I don't know. I have 1,000 ideas. Which one's the right one?
Totally. And I always, that's always the $1 million question. And the first, there's some bullet points of how to cross check which one's right for you. And the first one is the one that's right for you, the one that allows you to show up as your best. And then, of course, we need to make sure that it's how our audience is going to best receive that experience and get results. And there's a number of other things to consider there. But first and foremost, it has to be right for you, or it's not going to be right at all.
Yeah, you're not going to do it if it doesn't feel good to you.
Exactly. That was me back in the day when I was offering mainly done-for-you services and done-for-you content marketing services. And I'm an extrovert. I am visionary. I love talking to people like this. I could do this all day. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I had to go behind the scenes and get the work done, I found myself resisting it, resenting it. I didn't feel inspired. If clients would want to say, hey, can we change things up or add this on this month, even if it came with extra pay, I wasn't excited about it. Now, for my longer term clients, I might say, hey, let's jump on a quick one-to-one, even if it's not included in their contract. If I notice like they're going through, I used that example of a tax strategist before. Right now is tax season, and I work with several people in the finance world. And so they're busy right now. They may not have the capacity to work on group calls. So I'm reaching out to some of them and saying, hey, if you want some support, we can hop on a quick one-to-one. I do that from a place of overflow because I love the way I'm offering what I offer.
Yeah. And it's nice because that's a very seasonal burnout that they're going through. So you probably you understand where they're coming from, especially since multiple clients are in that boat.
Yes. I don't specialize in that world, but I tend to I have quite a few people in the finance world.
Yeah. I do. I love finance and operations. Those are so much fun just because I think because I'm intrigued by them living in the marketing world. I'm like, I like these structure activities too.
Totally. And the interesting thing that I find, this is true for every client I work with, but it especially relates to, finance, legal, I work with the business owner who is a true expert at what they do. They're amazing at their craft and they provide such an incredible amount of service to their people. And sometimes at the expense of the business model and the marketing methods that they're using because they're not a business strategist. They've gotten to where they are in business based on like purely their gifts, which is amazing. And I want them to their business to go further based on their gifts. So that's where I come in and see what needs to be happening in the business and to get the word out about their services in a way that doesn't burn them out, that doesn't require them creating 3 reels a day if that's not aligned with them and their season of life. So I love working with those specialized experts who just are incredible at what they do and they just need some support on the business side of things to take things to the next level.
So it sounds like there's 2 things that you probably look at first. One would be their financial goals, so you can help structure that offer. And 2 would be like, what are their special gifts that would apply best to each of these different scaling strategies? You mentioned, let's see, we have course, we have a structured membership, we have an agency model, and group VIP days. Can you walk me through? Because that's the first time I've heard of a group VIP day. Well, how would that work?
Yeah. And then there's like the traditional kind of, or a group program of sorts would be another common mode as well, which I see as different than a course because a course is very more structured curriculum and the intention of live sessions would be more like specific Q&A, whereas a group program, as I define it, is usually more based on getting all up in your business, at least in my case, or all up in whatever it is they're doing. And then there may be some curriculum on the back end that can support, but the offer is more around the support. Okay. Anyways, some people might call that a mastermind, whatever. We won't get into all those nuances. Now I'll answer your question about the group VIP days. So group VIP day, this is where it's the importance of having really structured systems is vital. So if you don't have this, a group VIP day is not going to be for you. Let's say you've been delivering VIP days to help people set up their, I don't know, Dubsado or something. You're an ops person
on that screen right now.
There you go. Yeah. So let's say you're an ops person and you have a VIP day where you help people get their entire onboarding and client nurture experience set up through Dubsado. Let's say you've done this with 20 different clients. And it's not a hard and fast rule that you have to have done it with 20 different clients to do this, obviously, but you've got it. It's down to a science, right? There's probably some preliminary information that you could say record and have people prep ahead of time, then come into a VIP day setting. And now it is usually useful depending on you and how quick you are. You could host a group VIP day and have 8 people come in. And if this is a done type of situation where, it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and it might be helpful, again, if you have, it's say all for wedding professionals so you just kind of know here are the typical things that are going to be required to set up and they're all coming in at a similar place. You could have a group VIP day where you're just knocking it all out, or say you send them some preliminary information to consume, some things to prep. They hop on the group VIP day. You sort of set the stage of what you're going to be doing. You maybe take some quick insights from them in that moment. You get to work behind the scenes and then you deliver it via a Loom video or something like that. So where you're just kind of batching what would typically happen in a VIP day 1-to-1, you're batching it to a group. And there's a number of different ways that that experience could look. It's very much going to be dependent on the subject matter, your process, where your clients are coming in. But that's an example of how it could look.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're basically like taking the like activities and doing them all at the same time for each of those clients during the batch VIP day or group VIP day.
Yeah. And you could even, if it feels better to you, and this is where it's helpful sometimes this works really well if people have team support, meaning someone else who's going behind the scenes and doing. So you kind of kick the experience off. Your team's going to go set everything up. You record the Loom video at the end of the day or kind of host a group presentation moment at the end of the day. This can also be something where it's structured like a VIP day, but it actually happens on 2 separate days over, say on Tuesday, the first week of the month, you're going to meet for an hour and that kicks off the VIP day, the VIP week experience or something. And then the next Tuesday you close it out. So it can be structured a number of different ways. It's just really about we're getting a focused thing done and we're doing it for multiple people at once. And so it doesn't require us to, if you're someone who is using VIP days in your business and you're booking, say one a week or two a week, you could book 8 spots for your group VIP day and have that really happen on 1 or 2 days a month.
That is such a cool idea. It's the first time I've heard of that concept, and I thought that I've heard of everything.
They say like nothing's original, but there are sure a lot of ways that we can scrapbook unoriginal ideas together to make them original.
Well, that you did with that one. That is the
Yep.
first time I've heard of it, and I dig it. Someone posted on my LinkedIn, like just a comment on one of my posts, like, why don't you do this as group consulting? And that was months ago. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I have no idea what group consulting would look like, but I'm guessing something like this.
That's how I define my signature offer, is a group consulting experience. I'm all up in my clients' businesses, but our calls are group calls, and they get so much out of being there and in community together and sharing resources. And of course, I have Voxer with them. And that space is 1-to-1, and I'm learning a lot about their businesses up front. So that's exactly my signature offer, is a group consulting offer, and I'm straight up obsessed with it. I love it so much, and it's the reason I'm so in love with my business. So group consulting absolutely can work as well. You can offer new things. You can test new offers out without having to do a whole overhaul to your brand. Like, that is really true. I can't tell you how many clients I have come in and we start our work together, because typically with most of my clients, our work is very transformative. We're really changing so much about their business. We dive into everything from their vision, their mindset, their team, their systems. And in between all that is their business model, their brand message, and their marketing. So we are covering a lot together. And that's, for my signature group consulting offer, that's what we're doing. And so many come in and they're like, okay, so should I do a whole rebrand since I'm making all these changes? And I'm like, no, let's get 6, 8, 9 months into this and get your revenue increased, build you a stronger cash flow cushion, give you more spaciousness to, even if you decide you wanted to do an overhaul of your brand, you have the space to even think about it. But it is absolutely 100% not required for you to do a big overhaul of your brand to start offering something more scalable.
That just made me think. All weekend, I've been obsessing with this idea of beta launches for service offerings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're just all too quick to be like, I'm all in on this one thing before we test out if the market actually cares about that thing.
Yep.
So, like, that's an example of it, is you can run all of this through a beta test and get feedback and reiterate your offer before you go into your website and you revamp the whole thing to be associated with a core offer that might not work for you.
100%. I mean, for most of my clients, I don't even recommend they have a sales page and I always call it like their pilot experience of that offer. I have a client who's about to start piloting a new group program offer. She does incredible work helping people to understand, gather, and utilize their marketing data. Even smaller businesses who think, what kind of data would I even have? I get, a really small number of site visitors each month, whatever. She can show you where you can leverage data in your business to make more money. So she's about to pilot a group offer, and we're calling it a pilot experience. And usually, even when we're talking price point, we have that pilot pricing set so that it's an easy yes, still it's not necessarily a no-brainer, so to speak, but it is an easy yes for your ideal person, because that gets people in the door, gets you to test the process, it gets you testimonials, and then you can iterate and iterate and iterate. Look, I'm almost 4 years into delivering my signature offer, which is called Elevate and Impact. And it started out as a 6-month experience. It is now a year. It started out as I delivered trainings live to people, and then we had live hot seat type calls. Now trainings are recorded. I actually, when a new client comes in, I say, if you can only do one thing in this whole experience, just come to the live calls, forget the trainings altogether.
Yeah.
I'll point you. Don't feel like you have to go through them one by one. I will point you to the right one when it's the right time, because I'm all up in your business and I know when it's time for you to access a new piece of curriculum to support your journey. So things shift and change all the time in our offers, and that is totally okay.
Yeah. And if they're not, then you probably aren't adapting to the market.
This is true, especially in the online business world. Things change, things shift, one of the things that I've been playing around with is potentially offering a shorter term commitment, because people have the thing I've heard from my person, and
Yes.
do you already know what I'm going to say? My
Mhm.
person has invested in group things before, has invested in maybe one-to-one coaches, one-to-one consultants. This is not their first time investing, and they've almost always had a bad experience with somebody. They've invested high ticket and had a bad experience. So they've got trust issues. And listen, I don't have anyone come in and be like, oh, this is triggering my trust issues. Like, they always have a very different experience. But to sign on the dotted line and input their credit card information for that first time and say, yes, I'm going to commit, 12 months is a big leap, especially if you've been burned before, especially if you've had an experience that didn't turn out the way that you wanted, or invested in something just because you didn't know what you didn't know and it wasn't the right time and you saw no ROI from it. Though I know my people have had those experiences. It's almost like the equivalent of a dating coach who specializes in people who are in their have already been previously married, so to speak. Like,
Mhm.
that you're gonna need to take a little bit different approach because they're coming with some baggage, right? So I've
Yeah.
personally been kind of considering, okay, what's a maybe easier yes for them, given the fact that they're likely coming in with some trust issues that I know they're not going to have with me. Still, I want them to feel safe and supported stepping into our work.
I work with a lot of coaches, and I'm hearing that from all of my clients that people are coming in with trust issues. They like their clients came and invested a ton of money in other coaches. It didn't move the needle. And
Yep.
now they're worried that no one else will be able to do that either. But another thing that I'm hearing like trending really big in 2024 is that people want smaller containers too, because they
Yeah.
want to be able to be agile or get those quick transformations. So
Yep.
having some sort of short form option is
Yep.
big for this year.
Totally. And I mean, I'll just share a bit of my journey because it is, the way I help my clients with scalable offers is certainly informed my journey. And I'm sure anyone listening can glean something from this, but that's exactly what I've done is actually today, in just a couple of hours at the time that we're recording this, I'm kicking off a short-term container that is specifically focused on workshops. So developing a workshop that acts as a sales system in your business. That's how I've literally last year, the only thing I did to sell my signature offer, the one that's the 1 year long-term commitment, was host workshops. Now, as a business strategist, I don't necessarily recommend people go so all in on just one specific strategy, but I was in a season of life where that was what basically was required of me. I really didn't have the capacity to do much else. So it worked, thank goodness. And I know that workshops work. I've seen them work for my clients. And I've said, let me just create a smaller, short-term, small bite, really focused container that people can come into. They can get their entire workshop system. So not just the workshop content, but how you're going to promote it, how you're going to follow up with people after the fact so you can sell something on the back end. And it's a 6-week experience. So it's that kind of quick hit. Let's get in, get this
Yeah.
done. And then if they want that deeper support from me to really transform their business, there's a place for them to go deeper. But we've already built that trust by just being laser focused on one particular topic.
I love that. I know that the first time we talked, I was telling you about my obsession with virtual events and using them to fill the sales pipeline. I think that's
Yep.
what we ended up bonding over originally, is that conversation. So we'll make sure to have the link for her workshop in the show notes, and it's going to be also shared out with my email, but it really does work. And I use the same strategy for my own business. And I've actually taught it to I don't have a coaching group, but the coaching group I'm in, they asked me to speak on the same topic. It works so
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, it really does. If you know how to do it right, and the thing I love about workshops, I'm very big on like, do everything in a way that's right for you. And so I even teach, there's different formats of workshops you can host, and you can tailor it so that it works for you, it works for your life, it works for how you like to show up as your best. And it's just a really, really something people have been describing it to me as like iterative, right? You can test out one. It doesn't cost a ton to host a workshop. So
Yeah.
you can iterate on them. You can improve over time, and just people, especially most of us, I mean, the markets that we work in are getting more and more competitive, more challenging. And a lot of people who we work with have either, been burned before, have trust issues, and creating that kind of event container where they can get to see you live and get to experience your energy and ask you questions. It helps to shorten that trust building gap in a big, big way.
It's just like offers. Like we were just talking about how you can beta launch or pilot a new offer. The same goes for workshops. You're basically doing the same thing where you're getting these feedback loops and you can adjust your workshop until it's the exact right kind of workshop to lead to your offer.
Exactly. I mean, just insider secret here. One amazing thing you can do with a workshop is test out an offer concept. So you can create a workshop around a topic that's really relevant to the offer that you want to create, and build an interest list. Just from hosting that workshop, it's a lot easier to just host a workshop, generate some revenue from hosting a workshop, because I typically recommend that you do charge for your workshops, and then see how many people are actually interested in this topic. I had a client do this and generated an interest list of 300 people for a
That's
new course
huge.
that she's coming out with. Yeah, and she got paid to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to hear more about your workshop 6-week container. That this episode is airing like right smack dab in the middle of this virtual event series that I'm doing, where so everybody who's listening to this right now, listen to all the podcast episodes around this episode too, because
Yes.
we dug into building pre-event community, how to get more engagement during the session and get people to show up live, how to sell
Amazing.
afterwards, and continue nurturing those relationships through community afterwards. There's just
I love it.
so many pieces.
I love this conversation. It's just such a relevant interjection into that series. It's beautiful.
I know, it really aligned. And what we were just talking, like, when should we air this? And like, now that this conversation is going in this direction, it's the perfect time to air it.
Perfect. Yeah, I love it. Love when that works out.
Yes. Okay, before we wrap up, are there any other scalable offers that people should be considering when they're booked out and they need a new way to increase their revenue?
I think we covered a lot of the main ones, being, memberships, group programs. And I think of a membership as something that, there's a reason for people to start and stay long term. Whether it's, maybe it's even so much as an accountability membership where they're getting on a call once a month to stay accountable, or maybe it's new content being added each and every month, or once a quarter, whatever it is. But that's really how I distinguish between a membership and something like a course with group support. Obviously, just a standard DIY course is one that includes no support. But there's those types of things. There's even such stuff as like group Voxer or Telegram's a new platform, things like that you could offer where people can receive support and community. Group VIP days, tools and templates. So those are another one. You want to be thinking about, what do you really want in terms of scalability in your business? Do you want the core of your business, to the foundation of it, to be a scalable offer? Do you want more of an agency model where you've got team delivering on the services? You need to make sure those services are really dialed in and tight. I have a number of clients who that's their model. And they might have some tools and templates they sell to sort of supplement their lead generation activities. But if the bulk of their revenue is coming from done for you services, and they've got team supporting. So there's really a number of different options out there. You just want to start to ask yourself, how do I really like to show up in my business? And what would what could it look like if I had an offer that really supported me showing up the way that I want to show up in my business? And then, of course, what level of revenue am I looking to generate in my business? And where am I most comfortable in terms of volume of delivery, right? So if it's something like a lower ticket membership or tools and templates, or even a course, usually most courses, you're not going to charge more than somewhere between 1 to 3K for. So you're going to, for most of us, depending on what our revenue goals, that's going to require more sales than, say, a group VIP day or a group program that's really involved. So just considering what your revenue goals are, the number of sales that would be required for you to hit those revenue goals, and then the marketing on the front end that would be required for you to actually sell the number that you're thinking about.
So all right, this podcast, all of the listeners are pretty much B2B service providers.
Okay.
And they're listening to this episode and they're like, okay, that sounds awesome. I'm going to make more money that way. But what are some signs that you're ready to build one of these scalable offers? Hey there, fellow marketers. Before we dive back into the conversation, I've got a game changer for your content strategy. Imagine a world where the headache of coordinating, reviewing, and approving content for social media, blogs, and newsletters just disappears. Struggling with team collaboration on content? We've all been there, and it's precisely why you need to hear about this tool. Its name, Plannable. Plannable is revolutionizing the way teams collaborate on content. Picture this: crafting and seeing your posts exactly as they'll appear live across different platforms, all from one dashboard. Yes, please. The beauty of Plannable, it drastically cuts down the approval time for your posts. What used to take hours can now be wrapped up in minutes. Whether you call Plannable your unfair advantage or secret weapon in your content creation toolbox, it's changing the content collaboration game. With its beautifully designed interface, you'll wonder how you ever did content planning without it. Ready to upgrade and streamline your approach to content creation? Head over to plannable.io and sign up for a free plan today. That's plannable.io. And here's the cherry on top. Plannable is giving you 30% off for the first 3 months when you upgrade to any plan that fits your needs. That's right, any plan. All you need to do is use the code Plannable30. That's PLANABLE30 at checkout, and you're ready and all set to transform the way you manage your marketing content. That's Plannable30 to lock in your 30% discount for 3 months.
Honestly, you've delivered on an experience and gotten someone results 4 times. Like, really?
That's it. That's the requirement right there.
I mean, that's a purely gut-based answer. There's so much more nuance that I'd want to consider with someone. But yeah, I think almost every single one of my clients, I see them having stayed in a space of being stretched really thin for way longer than they actually needed to. Of course, we want to do business with integrity. So if you are absolutely brand new, 100% green to what it is that you're doing, and you're kind of in a space of, maybe 2 people you let's say you coach, or you're providing services, you did it for free, pro bono, just to kind of get your feet wet, and you've had maybe 2 paying clients. Okay, maybe you wait till you're feeling, maybe you have 6 more paying clients, and then look at how you could scale it. But for example, I have a colleague who she has a company that specializes in beauty and hair and wellness services, specifically in the wedding industry. And she has created a service business completely separate, helping business owners, many of them in the wedding industry, to get systematized so that they're not running around like chickens with their head cut off, and they're actually profitable. She is her own proven best client, and she's helped a couple of friends with this stuff. She could create a scalable offer right away because she's so experienced in what it is she's offering. She doesn't need to necessarily put the time into really, she knows how to run a business. That's the difference here, right? If you've been in business and you feel okay as a business owner, and you've done what you do just enough to be like, yeah, I'm confident I can get people results, can probably create a scalable offer. You might even get people better results in a group. That's what I found. My group clients get absolutely incredible results. And part of that has to do with the group dynamic. The fact that my offer is scalable and it's delivered in a group adds to the value of the experience.
So they don't necessarily have to be booked out and stretched thin. They could be at the fair, like they've gone through that validation part of their business where they've validated the offer. And at that point, they could be like, okay, it's time to scale.
Exactly. You said it perfectly, is that you validated your offer. That's the key. You validated the transformation that you can provide. There is no reason why it has to be provided in a one-to-one setting. In most cases, there's some instances where maybe that's the case, right? But there's no reason for most businesses that we're speaking to why it has to be provided in a one-to-one setting until you're booked out and stretched super thin. To be honest, I didn't do that. I was 3/4 of the way booked. And it actually was like June of 2020. And I was like, everybody's moving online. Now is the time for the group. I thought maybe I'll wait till the fall, wait till I'm more booked out. And I said, I'm just going to do it now. It feels like the right time. So I did. And I haven't looked back.
It was great timing on your part. The online space blew up and so many people were like, I want to learn a new skill. I want my life to look different. I have all this space now.
Yeah, totally. Or what I ended up having happen was a lot of business owners who had maybe dabbled in delivering things online, like therapists who were offering more, coaching services online, and they'd sort of dabbled here and there, that they were then kind of forced to prioritize whatever it is they had thought about doing online. That now became the main thing. And that's where I came in to help make it the main thing.
Yeah. I took tiny marketing full time in 2020 also. So
big
COVID
year for
sisters.
lots of people. Totally.
All right. So when is your workshop taking place? And tell us a little bit about it and how they can find you online.
Yeah. So I'm assuming we're referring to ACE, your Scalable Offer Suite, which is my next upcoming workshop. And no matter when you're listening to this, I do offer these, this workshop as well as the workshops. If you're wanting to dive deeper into workshops, I've got that one too. I do offer them on demand, so I can send you the links for those. But I'm hosting it live on April 4th, and that we're going to dive into, again, looking at, we didn't have the space to get into that so much, but how do we actually know how we're hardwired for success so that we can choose an offer that does align with that? What offers align with what different ways of, different strengths and talents? How can we package this up so that it serves and supports us? And you really walk away with a lot more clarity on what your right fit scalable offer is, what the outcome should be, how it should be packaged, some pricing ideas, even some ideas for how you could start promoting and piloting it right away. So that is happening on April 4th.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation with me and Annmarie as she dug into all of your opportunities for scalable offers. And don't forget, April 4th, she is hosting the workshop, the ACE Your Scalable Offer Workshop, and you can use ACE Guest as the promo code to get half off to attend that workshop. And let me tell you a little bit about the Tiny Marketing Club, which was inspired by this conversation I had with her. So if you have ever wanted to work with me, but you thought that a one-to-one might be unattainable, maybe it just doesn't fit in your budget, I have a group offer that I am beta launching right now. And we would be working one-to-one on your strategy. We would do a strategic spark together. And after that, we would be in a group, and on a group basis, we will have co-working hours every single week. And no joke, I will also be co-working with you because I have my Monday marketing schedule where for 4 hours on Monday mornings, I work on my marketing and you will be working on yours. So we'll be doing it side by side. but you get to send yours to me if you have any questions, you want feedback on the content you've created. Every single quarter, we will work together to create your quarterly marketing plan, and you'll get one-on-one feedback from me. So via Loom, you'll get feedback on your individual quarterly marketing plan. Not only that, but you also get weekly prompts for LinkedIn. This is specifically for B2B service businesses, so LinkedIn is where it's at. So you will get weekly prompts and engagement circles. So we would all be engaging with each other. And then you'll get quarterly sales planning, where we'll bring in a sales expert and they are going to help us do the math and figure out how many connections you need to get in order to reach your business goals, how you can tweak your offers, what makes sense to be able to reach that revenue goal, because it's all about reaching that revenue goal, isn't it? And last, we will have quarterly guest experts come in and share their expertise with us, and it'll all be based off of what you actually need. So I am beta testing this right now. It is not in the full launch. And if you are interested in joining that beta launch and getting 20% off for an entire year, then my friend, go down to the show notes page because I am sharing the application there. And I think it's going to be a great time. It is perfect for those people who need the accountability. They need someone to bounce ideas off of. They need a strategic guide or advisor or partner. And they need a community to rally around them and boost that engagement. This is how you build that know, like, trust factor. This is how you increase your visibility. This is how you boost your authority. I think it's going to be really helpful for you. So again, go down, fill out the application, and when the enrollment's up, I will reach out to you and let you know what's up. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a little likey, a little rating reviewy. Yeah, I love you. Thank you for joining me today. Bye-bye.